It's such an interesting story in history that I definitely didn't know. So it's all about British families who essentially sold a dream of living in Australia post-war, moving over there for £10 and kind of learning that everything was not as it seemed.
Yeah, they definitely were sold a story that they would move into big houses with big gardens and there'd be a job waiting for them. And the reality was that they actually moved into hostels within the certain areas of Sydney and Melbourne and all over. And they had to really work their way up to find a home, to find a good job. There were people from all over the world, Italian, you know, German. And so the contrast of what they were promised, you know, to what they actually got for, you know, some of these people 2 or 3 years in these hostels trying to work their way up to buy a house or get a job. So, yeah, it's all about learning about that history and the families, that what they went through and trying to assimilate into a new culture and the scary animals over there and the boiling weather and, yeah, so, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with it all, yeah.
So we met Annie, your character, and her family in the last series. What's in store for them now? They know that they've settled a bit more.
Yeah, I think for Annie, coming from a post-war country and being a female in World War II, where she was, you know, the women took a lot of the jobs on, so they worked in the factories, they drove, you know, tractors, they kind of kept the country going. And I think she moves to Australia and she realises that she wants more. She doesn't want to go back to being the housewife. She doesn't want to go back to... She's also a grandma in this season. Yeah. And, you know, I feel I look a bit too young for that, but...
Oh, for sure.
Very much so.
For sure.
So she's trying to evolve. She's trying to challenge stereotypes. And in the context of the 1950s, a woman, you know, wearing a bikini, there's a whole segment where she gets brave and wears a bikini, and you could be arrested for that in Australia. And Warren Brown plays my husband. So there's a lot going on in season 2. There's a lot. And finding their way and how they exist now in Australia and having different needs and wants and how a relationship can survive, or can it survive?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, there's lots going on.
And you used your great-grandparents as inspiration for Annie and Terry's relationship, didn't you, in this
I did. So my great-grandma, Eva, and my great-granddad, Albert. Albert was... there they are.
There they are.
So that's my dad's mum on the left, my great-grandmother in the middle, and my mum's mum on the right, and then that's me as a baby. So 4 generations there. 3. Can't do the maths.
There's generations.
There's generations. 3. Yeah, so my great-gran obviously was had children in World War II and was part of that kind of world. So my granddad was a prisoner of war and he fought at Dunkirk as well. So there was so much information for me to get on both characters. You know, Terry's character being a soldier and all that he went through, and then my grandma being at home with children. But mainly it's the women, the northern women, and my mother as well, obviously. The strength of my grandparents kind of informed how I wanted Annie to come across. They're kind of very strong matriarchs, certainly my great-grandma, and very, very sort of in charge of the family, but also really loving and, I don't know, ambitious as well. So, yeah, grateful that they were my grands. Obviously, they've all passed away now, bless them, but... massive inspiration, yeah, and my mum as well.
Yeah, you can see their spirit through your character.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, especially my great-grand. She was, yeah, a strong one.
For sure. Now, this week, we've seen the weather in Australia isn't always what you think it's going to be. And, of course, our thoughts are affected with everybody who's been affected by the cyclone. Now, you had quite the surprise as well yourself when you got to Australia, just with the weather and how it was filmed. How was that first series?
Yeah, the first one was that it was snowing, there were storms. My first day on set, I looked out of the trailer and there was a gazebo being flown around from the wind.
You wouldn't believe that.
Yeah, I know, and you know, snow, and it was intense. And then the next season we were filming in 40 degrees, so we just couldn't get it right.
Yeah.
You know, and 40 degrees in polyester, it's no joke.
Oh gosh,
it's no joke.
That is no joke.
It's really not. Do you know?
No.
A martyr for her art, Faye Marseille.
Yeah, makeup just melting off.
Well, you can see that makeup definitely staying on for sure.
Yeah.
£10 Poms continues on Sunday, 8 o'clock on BBC One and iPlayer. And very soon we'll be hearing about